Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the shit show. By the way, side note, or disclaimer, whatever you want to call it. If you're offended by swear words and you don't like young women swearing, click out of the video now because I'm about to piss you off probably. So let's get into it, shall we? I started my weight loss journey January 22nd, 2018. And since then I have lost 157 pounds and lost it all less than a year, like 49 weeks it took me. So when I started off, I lost 50 pounds from January 22nd to I think it was around May 1st, beginning of May. I don't remember, sometime in May that I lost the 50 pounds and then it started to slow down and I transitioned into like a really intense, really like serious, strict weight loss mode from like May to like November. And then I transitioned into maintenance mode. So I kind of had 3 different stages, like the beginning, the middle, and the end, right? And this is going to be all about that beginning stage. Number 1 tip I'm going to give you. Number 1, most important, go to your doctor. If you're fortunate enough to afford health insurance here in America. Let's not get into that. Let's not get into that mess. But yeah, there's a lot of things that could be affecting your weight, hormones, birth control, your thyroid. There's so many things that could be affecting you and your weight loss. You want to make sure that you're healthy enough to start, working out and all that jazz. Obviously, I'm not an expert, so talk to your doctor first. Second thing, this might be just a little bit below how important these are. All these are super important, by the way. But this is going to be the most important thing to do mentally is stop making excuses, okay? Now, there's a clear difference between making a reason and not making a reason. There's a clear difference between a reason and an excuse, okay? A reason is, oh, I broke my leg. I can't work out. That's a reason. That's not an excuse. Even though there are people who work out, that's a more valid reason. An excuse is I don't have time. I get a lot of messages from people saying that they don't have time to work out. They don't have time to do this. If you have the time to message a random stranger on the internet, you have time to work out. Okay? And I know that sounds mean. I know that sounds bitchy. And I 100% understand that we all have different lives, people have kids, people have jobs, people have stressful jobs, people have whatever it is, but we all have 24 hours in a day. Okay? Let's remember that. There are still times when I know I can't get a workout in. I get my ass up at 5 a.m. and I go to the gym. I don't want to, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Your health needs to become a number 1 priority in your life if you want to see results. I can guarantee you're not seeing results because you're already coming up. I will tell people what I did and they'll be like, oh, I can't do that. Or I can't do, that's your problem. That's it right there. It has nothing to do with what you're actually physically doing. It has everything to do with the fact that mentally you are not in the place that you need to be to lose the weight. Does that make sense? So mentally you have to be 110% committed to it. And if you're already making up fucking excuses, you're not, and the weight's not going to come off. Trust me. I have been there 8,000 different times when I was like, oh my God, the weight's not coming off, but I just don't want to work out today. I went to school after work, I went to school and I'm tired. I don't feel like going to the gym. That's how I was before. Trust me. I know. I was the queen of bullshit fucking excuses, but you cut the bullshit out and guess what? Shit happens. You move on. You don't move on. You hit your goals. You become successful. That's done with cutting the bullshit out. Okay? You deserve better. Stop making excuses for yourself. Number 3. Number 3. This is just under the bullshit excuses. Water, bitches. Water. Hydrate. Right now I drink about 4 to 5 liters of water a day. I'm just really used to drinking water. At the beginning, no, you don't need to be drinking that much water. You probably don't want to be drinking that much water if you're not used to drinking water regularly. You are going to want to cut the sugary beverages out completely. Don't go to diet. Don't add Crystal Light to your water. Just as just a suggestion. Take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt, of course. But when you try to transition from drinking pop and, sugary frappuccinos and all that bullshit, Slurpees, shit like that. I am the queen of beverages. I love me a good beverage, okay? Like, I love it. I have my iced coffee from early. Oh my God, there's a still sip. Ew, it's just fucking melted ice. That was disgusting. Okay, moving on. But I love me a good beverage. But the most important one you're going to get is water. I always have a water with me. And I have noticed the 100 different times I've tried dieting, the only time I was ever successful is when I was very strict with my water. You're going to want what comes in, it's got to go out. And I know people complain about being on the toilet all the time. I piss about 3 times an hour. Okay. Like, I literally, probably half my day is spent in the fucking bathroom. That's just peeing. Let's talk about shitting. Let's get real. Who the fuck cares? Let's get real. You gotta be shitting too. And you gotta be keeping track of that shit. Literally. I love that I made that pun. You have to be keeping track of it. Because if it's too hard, you need to be eating more fiber-rich foods. Or if you're not going enough, you need to be going frequently. Everything needs to be coming out. And I'm not saying take laxatives. That's a line we're not getting into that. Unless you need to. Let's say like you need to, but I'm not saying take laxative for weight loss. Here's the key with water is I know a lot of people don't like water, which is so weird to me. But it's because you haven't found the water that works for you. Right now, I go through phases. I'm into the tumbler cups with the straws. This helps me get my water in. I'm getting bored with it. So I'll probably move back to bottles. Probably room temperature, bottled water. I have a reusable one. I lost the first 50 pounds by just tracking my calories. I wasn't very informative or educated on my macros. Like, I didn't really know what the hell that meant. I didn't really know what low carb was. I mean, I knew what carbs were, but I didn't know how they were affecting me. And once I started to get strict with that was like the second phase, was like I learned, what was working for me, what wasn't working for me, because I was tracking all my food. So I would go back and I'd be like, oh, this week I had a really big loss. I wonder what I was eating last week that was causing that. Do you know what I mean? So track everything. Hold yourself accountable for everything you eat. If you have a mess up meal or something that was off track, track it. If you go over your calories one day, it's okay. Track it. Start holding yourself accountable. Because once you start living in this la-la land, like, oh, I ate 2 donuts, but you know what? Tomorrow I'll eat better. I'm just not going to write it down. Living with that almost like security blanket that like, oh, well, you don't really feel like you did it unless you see that you did it. Does that make sense? Okay. Incorporating some sort of workout into your routine. Now, when I started, a question I get a lot is, what was the workouts I did at the beginning? I literally, for the first, 2.5 months that I was at the gym, I did one workout, and it was a treadmill. When I can't tell you guys enough how much my Fitbit has helped me in terms of my journey. Like, literally, if I'm going to credit anybody or anything, it's going to be my fucking Fitbit, because this shit keeps you being held accountable is a huge part of the journey as well. And this shit holds you super accountable. Yesterday was a Super Bowl. I didn't do shit yesterday. And it tells you how many calories you burn. I think I burned like 1,500 calories all day because I don't think I moved. Like, I think I moved once. And I look at this shit and I got like 1,000. No, I definitely got more than 1,000. I didn't get that many steps in, and then I felt like kind of shitty. But most days, I would aim, I think at the beginning, I was only aiming for 8,000 calories. I know like the average is, or not 8,000 calories, holy shit, 8,000 steps. I know everybody tries to get that 10,000 in because that's what like the Heart Association recommends. But I was just trying to get 8 because coming from somebody who lived a very, very, very sedentary lifestyle, getting 8,000 steps was a struggle. So what I would do is I would just get on the treadmill because I was not comfortable at the gym. I was super, super, super self-conscious. I had no idea what I was doing. I would go to the gym. I would put on my headphones. I would put on a show on Netflix, and I was really into Mad Men. I will never forget. I watched Mad Men like the first 3 months. And it was an hour-long show, and I would just walk on the treadmill. And then I would get, a few weeks would go by, and it's like, okay, let me lift the incline up. Let me see how I can get. And then let me lift the speed up a little bit. And at the end of those 3 months, I was able to do full incline at a 4.0, holding on for like 5 minutes. Never ran. I tried running at the very first week that I went to the gym, and it was so bad on my joints that I couldn't run anymore. So yeah, it was just like fine, like, and I still do this to this day where you're just kind of like testing your endurance. When things start to get a little bit easy, that's when you kick it up a notch. So when I was starting to not get out of breath from walking, I would increase my speed and increase the incline. So I did that, and that was the only workout I did at the beginning. I know Leslie Sampson, I think her name is. She has walking videos. If you're not comfortable with going to the gym, they're free and they're on YouTube. And she's annoying as hell sometimes, but like, damn, that walking is like, because right now we have shit weather. I mean, right now it's kind of nice, but like it was negative 40 degrees last week. Like, who the fuck is you can't walk in that. And even going to the gym is a pain in the ass. So there's home workouts you can do. You can do some yoga. You can do some, just walking your dog. I always say walking. I still love, like if I'm not in the mood to work out, I still walk. Like I just love walking. But yeah, finding something that you like. You may love kickboxing if walking is too boring for you. You may like to run if you're in, who knows? Maybe your body can handle it better than mine could. It's just mentally getting into the routine of, this is the time I'm going to work out during the day. Setting aside 30 minutes to an hour every day. Not every day, but 3 to 5 times a week. You can do it. You can find it in your schedule. I know we're all busy. I know we all whatever. But again, this comes back to shut the fucking excuses up and incorporate it somewhere in your schedule. All right, so this might be a little bit of a weird one, but whatever. Progress pictures. I wish I took more. But here's the thing. When you're at a place where you have a lot of work to do, you have a lot of work to go. Trust me, when I saw myself at 300 pounds, I didn't look in the mirror and think, you know what, next week you're going to be fine. No, I knew it was going to be a long journey ahead. But I forced myself the very first day at the gym, I forced myself to take pictures. And I didn't like what I saw at all. It was probably one of the hardest things that I did in terms of all of this. The number one thing was walking into the gym. And the second was taking those pictures because you're faced with that reality. And this comes back to that point again, that you kind of have to hold yourself accountable. And you kind of have to look at yourself and think, all right, this is it. And I remember thinking, this is the last time I'm ever going to look this way. Did I just get like choked up? Jeez. These little chats are like a little therapy session for me. It's kind of nice. I always end these videos feeling really, really refreshed. But yeah, I remember thinking, this is the last time I'm going to look this way. And it was. And every few weeks I would start to take the pictures again. And I was like comparing the pictures. Throughout my whole journey, I have so many freaking side-by-sides. And I look back and it's funny because I look back and I remember like my first 3 weeks, I think. I took those pictures the first day, and then 3 weeks later I took pictures. And there's really no big difference because that first 6 weeks that I was losing or started my journey, I wasn't losing a shit ton of weight. First 6 weeks, I lost about 15 pounds, which is a good amount. But when you're that heavy, it didn't make a big difference in terms of looks. I was losing some inches, but it wasn't anything that anybody would really notice, I think. But I noticed, and I felt great. Like, I was just like, fuck yeah, like I lost 15 pounds, whatever. But it's funny because those first 3 weeks, and I have the pictures, and I know what I was thinking at the time was there's this huge difference, and I can see it side by side. I can see it. And I look back now, and I'm like, if I had shown anybody these, they'd probably be like, there's no difference. But it all comes down to, and this was my point in saying this, it all comes down to you kind of have to be your number one fan. You have to be your number, and that sounds so cheesy and that sounds so stupid, but I kind of am my number one fan and my worst enemy. You know what I mean? Like I was my worst enemy for such a long time that bitch is unfortunately always going to be there. But I've also grown to be my number one fan, and I've been that way since the beginning, that it was like, this is your time, you're going to do it, trying to shut that other bitch up. I sound psycho, like I have these voices in my head, but you guys know what I mean. You have your doubts, and you have your bullshit ass whatever that you're not going to be able to do it. You need to shut that bitch up and be like, yes, I am. This is me trying to be motivating, but whatever. There's no reason why you can't feel confident without you thinking, oh my God, I'm a cocky bitch. No, bitch, you are. You're great. You're awesome. Fucking own that shit. Like, I get told I'm borderline narcissistic all the time, and maybe I am. Maybe I am. But I don't really think I am, because you know what? At the end of the day, I know I'm awesome. I know I'm amazing. I did this amazing thing. I'm a badass bitch. I don't think I'm the only badass bitch. I don't think I'm the best badass bitch. I just think I'm one of millions. You know what I mean? So be humble, but be a cocky bitch too, because you deserve it. It comes back to being your best friend. But this is a hard thing, and probably the hardest thing that you're going to have to grasp is stop beating yourself up about everything. If you do have a donut, if you do have that pizza because it was out, if you feed into temptation a little bit, stop beating yourself up, because that's the first thing that's going to kick you off track, is that mentality that, oh, well, I fucked it up and I'm not going to get back on track ever. Because you feel like you fell off the bandwagon, and you know how hard it is to get back on. You know it is. But let me tell you, one slip up does not mean you're off the bandwagon. Absolutely not. Of course, I'm human. There was a lot of times, especially at the beginning, that there was, oh, well, I'm hungry and Taco Bell's right there. Guess what? I tracked it all. I held myself accountable. The next day or the next meal, I made a better choice. That's what it comes down to. It's all about individual choices, taking it one choice at a time. You choose to go to the gym, you're still on track. You choose to eat a salad over whatever. I was going to say pizza again. I keep saying pizza. But yeah, you choose a salad over pizza, you made the right choice. You keep going forward. It's almost like a little bit of a game, but it's not a game. It's more serious than that. But, you know, just because you take one step back doesn't mean that you're completely off the grid or completely out of the game. You're still in there. You just got to keep moving forward. And a lot of that comes down to being your best friend. Again, you have to tell yourself, it's okay. You're human. Not every single choice you make is going to be the right. Not necessarily the right one, but the one you know you should have made. Does that make sense? Those are my tips at the beginning. I hope you found that somewhat helpful. I know I talk a lot in these videos. It's just a lot of information, and I don't know. Let me know what kind of videos you got. I love video suggestions, so I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, clearly. Hopefully I venture off into a different area. The kids are napping, by the way. I am a nanny, and the kids are napping, so the F-bombs, they did not hear. All right. That's all I gotta say about that. And have yourself a blessed day wherever you are.